What's up, everybody? Welcome to Move the Sticks. DJ here, and excited for you guys to hear this episode we have here. It's going to be a little bit of a best of here as we look back at some great conversations we've been able to have. One of the things that Bucky and I love about this podcast is the opportunity to talk with some guys we're really interested in terms of their viewpoint, their philosophy, their stories, their history. And we've had some great ones over the years. We've been doing this over a decade, actually. But I wanted to play three of them for you here, three of our favorites from this year, with Andrew Luck, who's the general manager at Stanford as he's taken over his alma mater's football program. Tom Telesco has been a general manager in the National Football League for over a decade with the Chargers and the Raiders, as well as a ton of experience with the Colts around Peyton Manning in those years. Just one of the really, really bright guys. I've always enjoyed listening to Tom and count him as a true friend. And then another friend in Luke Keuchly. One of the greatest linebackers of all time, is someone that we've had a chance to visit with over the years, and always just fascinating guy. Really, really football intelligent, just intelligent, period. So I wanted to play those conversations for you. A little best of here, our conversations with Andrew Luck, Tom Telesco, and Luke Keuchly. All right, Buck, excited to have with us a player we both scouted back in our NFL days, and someone who has had an incredible journey and is now the general manager for the Stanford Cardinal. Andrew Luck joined us. Andrew, how you doing, man?
I'm doing really well. To be clear, this is not my jersey behind me. It's John Brody. I get dogged on.
No. That's good.
I have my Plunkett jersey next to it. I tried to switch up. The wire was wrong, and I gave up. So I put John Brody back up.
Because you went in to a program that was 1-11 before you got there, you've seen it go from the bottom to where they had the pinnacle of Stanford football. How do you take what you learned as a player and replicate that now as a general manager?
There are some timeless principles in our sport, right? And there's probably some timeless principles organizationally across industries. And like the world has changed. We are paying players and we're excited about it, right? The transfer portal is different than when I was in school. One, Coach Harbaugh's having a leader of the program that had deep conviction that we were going to win, and what might be perceived as challenges were not going to be excuses, right? At all. Right? Coach Harbaugh said, well, shoot, if we can only recruit 40 or 50 guys a year because of the academic threshold, let's go find the best 40 or 50 and make sure our yield is higher than everybody else, right? In high school recruiting. Good. That's profoundly affecting how I do this. Two, let's build a foundation of like hard work, respecting each other, holding really, really, really high standards, because we have high expectations. We have very high expectations. And those have to be rooted in very high standards and really high care, right? And so those coaching staffs, Coach Harbaugh, Coach Shaw afterwards, they did it authentically. Coach Harbaugh was authentically himself. Coach Shaw was authentically himself. I learned to be the best quarterback I could be. I had to be me, right? Including walking into a locker room where Peyton Manning had been the previous quarterback. Because if I was trying to be Peyton, a version, Andrew's version of Peyton, that it would fail quickly, right? Fail quickly. And I was given license by Dwight Freeney on day one, walking in that locker room and said, Andrew, you need to be the best you can be. No one else. This team just needs you. That meant a whole lot as a young rookie quarterback coming into that space. So, one, bringing all of me as a leader to this thing. Two, going and finding the unicorns around the country at high school that have the grades and ball out, right? That are willing to put the work in. And willing to learn and play great football, building a culture of brotherhood where our young men are playing for each other, right? And understand our plan. And you mentioned it too. Frank has done an unbelievable job this year. He saved my bacon, man, coming in for 8 months and doing this thing, and the progress and that our team has made is unbelievable. I'm proud of him. I'm proud of our staff. I get proud watching these guys every Saturday go out and lay it on the line, and it's a wonderful thing to be a part of.
You touched on two things I wanted to get some further thought on, because you talked about the foundation and building a foundation. I think of your studies and your background in design, architectural design, like how that plays into it, and what does this foundation need to be to go forward. And the second thing is we've talked a lot, and just talking to our buddies in GM roles in all different sports. The phrase that we've heard more than any other the last 24 months has been care factor. We can talk about, it's easy. The scouting, the talent is really, it is what it is. But trying to find guys with a very high care factor is the challenge. How do you go about doing that when you're visiting with 17, 18-year-old kids?
Oh man, that's what a great question, right? It is the question. I think of care factor at two different levels.
Yeah.
I think one at the individual. Do I love football? Do I love learning? Right? Because and have I seen enough evidence that I can get better at football? Right? Like, you want kids who are just obsessed about getting better at football, because that gets to become an addictive feeling, and that's a virtuous fly cycle, right? Like a flywheel of better. Frank Reich has done that for our guys. They've gotten better. The coaching, our staff, they're like, get better. And then also for our staff, right? Are we getting better? Am I getting better in this job? Is there a level of intrinsic motivation, often tied with love of something, right? Hard to want to get better at something if you just sort of like it a little bit, or like really don't like it. But sussing that out, I'm not sure I have a formula yet. Some of it I think is gut instinct and feel, right? And maybe that's the art of recruiting or personnel. I think some of it's the right line of questioning, and oftentimes it's, you got to find character references, right? You got to find people who will spill some story that has some nugget of truth and put enough of those nuggets of truth together to find a picture. And then you take a leap of faith, right? I also believe of care factor of how are we as a program taking care of our people, right? And giving everyone the best chance to have their care factor grow as they're, it's not a static thing, right? It's not a static, right? Like, we have to be a place that, I mentioned high expectations and standards and high care, like high standards and high care. That's the right combination. It gets old if there's really high standards and low care, right? It also gets old. It's kid gloves if it's real high care and low standards, right? And there's a quote from one of my mentors, Admiral Sandy Winnefeld, an amazing man. He's got a great book on leadership called Sailing Upwind. He was, I'm going to say the words wrong, but chief of staff for Colin Powell at some point. And Colin turned him in a car. He tells this great story. We turned him in a car and said, Sandy, morale has never been improved by lowering standards, right? So how do we have a system of high care and high standards and find the people that will thrive in that system? And look, I'm like 9 months in this job. I like, the data's not there. This is like, I should say the big data. I know we're on the right path. I have a deep conviction that this is the right path, but there's faith in this, right? Man, I'd love to be sitting here 5 years from now saying, yeah, we just won 4 national championships. But that's how I'm approaching both the like sussing out care factor and, well, Andrew, you got to hold up your end of the bargain too. You got to help young men tend that care factor and grow it.
I was thinking back to the first time I went on campus at Stanford, and where we used to park as scouts, we'd have to walk across the whole campus. I remember the first time, Buck, we've talked about this. I remember parking the first time, and it was a fall day. It wasn't an early visit. It was a little bit later in the fall. And I remember walking across, and I swear I thought I was on a sound stage or something, because the leaves just kind of started falling. I look to my left, and there's the women's soccer team practicing. I'm sure there's probably 6 Olympians there. Then I hear the ping of the baseball bat, and I'm sure there's probably a couple first-round picks on that field as they're kicking some BP. Walk by the pool where there's a high diver, and I'm sure, I don't know which country, but there's an Olympian that's just jumping off the high dive. And then I walk in the building. I remember after that day, Andrew, I called my parents and I said, if you would have taken me to Stanford in 8th grade, I would have got better grades in high school. I didn't know a place like this existed. So how important is it for you when you're recruiting these guys to get them on campus and not just take your word for it, but come experience it?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, I don't mean this in a snobby or snooty way, but it's a special place as you laid out. And like, I'll finish your story, and then you walked into a football building, and there's David DeCastro and Kobe Fleeter and Michael Thomas and myself, Zach Ertz, who is like found the fountain of youth and just like still balling at a level that, these tight ends playing forever is unbelievable, man. And we think it's a special place. I met my wife here. She was a gymnast, right? Representing the Czech Republic. We all live in a dorm freshman year with a random roommate. Like, that's, where else do you get that in life, right? And we need kids to embrace that. I'm still friends with my dorm mate, Dennis Carmenar from Turkey. He's an amazing dude, lives in the Bay Area, right? Like, it's an amazing place. And you mentioned the sports. You're also going by an academic building where we're unbelievable breakthroughs in whatever mission it is are happening. It's a place that rewards the pursuit of excellence, not just attaining excellence, but the pursuit. So getting young men and their families on campus is core to our recruiting strategy, because we think it sells itself. And then my job really is to make sure that the football is serious, right? Like serious, like like aspects of what I had. Old school principles, some new school methods, but there are some timeless truth. But because I came to Stanford, to maybe more succinctly answer the first question, I came to Stanford because it was serious about football and serious about other things. And it was a place where I did not want to take myself too seriously. But, our guys are embracing the seriousness of football. My year, I think we had Nneka Ogwumike go first overall in the WNBA. An amazing, this amazing hoopster from Houston as well. I went first overall in the NFL draft. Mark Appel was either drafted as a pitcher, drafted like first or top 5. It was like you're just surrounded. Like I go to the Olympics. My wife's a producer for gymnastics on NBC. I went to the Paris Olympics. What a treat. Like there's 59 Stanford affiliated athletes. My classmates, Katerina Stefanidi, pole vaulter, Greece, gold medalist at Rio. We were in the training room together. Like that's awesome. I watched Eric Shoji win a bronze medal in men's volleyball, who was freshman dorm mates with my teammates. Like we're boys. We partied together, Like, it's an amazing group to be a part of. And I love that our football team is part of a broader fabric and culture of let's go figure out how to be excellent.
Philip Rivers, nobody knows him as well as you do, Tom, all the years you spent together with the Chargers watching him play. I've tried to caution people that have just laughed this whole thing off versus saying, hey, I think it was like they're 2 touchdown underdogs in Seattle. I know Seattle's defense and weather. And I'm like, look, the second week is another thing and see how his body can recover. But maybe I'm in the minority. I'm like, for 1 week, I think Philip Rivers might be able to screen his way to a close game up there in Seattle.
Tell you what, I was with Philip for 7 years, Shane Steichen for 8. I should have known better that this could happen. I mean, I was doing a live radio interview Monday morning before any of this broke. I was on with Doug Gottlieb in Fox Sports Radio, and we're talking about Daniel Jones's injury. And he asked me, he's like, hey, do you think the Colts would reach out to Philip Rivers? Mm-hmm. And I gave him one of these. I'm like,
no chance.
He's been out of football for 5 years. That's not going to happen. So then I talked about Riley Leonard for a while. I thought Riley Leonard played really well last week. So talk about Riley Leonard. And then I think a couple hours later, it kind of comes out that Philip was going to work out for the Colts. And I'm like, oh, and I'm supposed to be the expert analyst. And I had no idea. But I'll tell you what, from a fan standpoint, it's fascinating. When I put my GM hat on, I'm like, it's not just he's playing at 44, it's that he hasn't played in 5 years. So to me, like the Tom Brady comparison is not a comparison because Tom Brady was active the whole time. So, I was just concerned about, the movement skills, concerned about, reaction times. If you're off just a millisecond in the NFL, it's a big difference. Concerned about soft tissue injury or worse. Mm-hmm. But then I watched the press conference yesterday that Philip did, and he had me convinced. I'm like, let's go. Like, why not? And that's the way Philip is. Like, I'm watching that, and I'm thinking all the reasons why you shouldn't do it. And then I'm like, he's got me. Like, let's go. Let's see.
That's how he plays. That's how he plays. Don't worry about the results. Just go out there and let it rip, Buck. That's just kind of.
It's must-see TV. I can't wait to watch.
I cannot wait to watch either, man.
I'm so scared for him. Like, just in terms of, like, everybody who's ever played anything always believes that they still got a little left. And I'm just worried 5 years away from the game. Philip talked about, I'm not at my playing weight. I'm about 20 pounds heavy. I'm just fearful of him having to move around and something bad happen, even though I love the moxie. I love his gunslinging ways, all of that. I'm just really concerned about him being able to survive a game and then go into the next. We're going to have to play another.
Yeah, actually, like DJ said, it's not just this game, it's the recovery for the next one, the next one for that. It's just, it's going to be hard, but I can't wait to watch it. I really can't.
Yeah, I was joking with somebody this morning that, back in the day, we used to have, you have your practice, your 2-hour practice, and we had a 10-minute screen period. I said, this is going to be a 2-hour screen period with 10 minutes of other football sprinkled in there. Well, everyone get that ball out quick.
Yeah, I mean, their offensive line is very good. Mm-hmm. They have Jonathan Taylor, who's going to get a ton of work, which is a good thing. They've got Josh Downs they can run some screens with. Michael Pittman's there, and they've got Tyler Warren. I mean, he has all the pieces around him. If this is going to work, that can help him. So, I can't wait to watch this against Seattle.
Man, this Buck, we haven't seen anything like this, man. By the way, the Tom Brady thing, Philip's not I don't think he's a big avocado toast. I don't think he's, no. doing all that stuff. I don't think he's sleeping in a hyperbaric chamber. Doesn't really sound like that's Rivers' style.
I do have a question, Tom, like with an older player, because the one thing that Philip has, he has experience and expertise because he's seen everything that they could throw their way. Is it possible that the one advantage that he gives the Colts is their ability to improve their running game? Because he can check in and out things that Riley Leonard hasn't seen. Philip being able to dominate the line of scrimmage in terms of getting them in the right call could be advantageous.
Yeah, that's a great point. Just getting in, 2nd and 12 is not good. 2nd and 6 is good. So just getting it, like you said, out of a bad play, he gets the wrong look, makes a change, picks up 4 or 5 yards on first down. There's no doubt. I mean, there's no more coach on the field than what Philip is going to be. Literally and figuratively.
He is a coach.
So, yeah, that's what I mean. And with him and Shane, I mean, they're running North Turner's offense. And basically, they can finish each other's sentences when it comes to X's and O's. So, it would be really fun to be on the headsets to listen to Shane. Now Philip can't talk back on the headset. He can only hear.
You can mic him up, though. He's got to be mic'd up for this.
That would be tremendous viewing just to listen to that throughout the game of those two kind of going through the game plan, in real time.
Yeah, I would imagine with the, all these teams having their own media company basically in-house that they hopefully document this thing all the way through.
Hopefully, but
no matter way it goes.
I can tell you from experience, he doesn't like being mic'd up. And most quarterbacks don't. Most quarterbacks don't like it. They all have to do it once a year.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe, he's got 4 games left. He's going to have to do it for one of these 4. Might as well do it for the first one.
Oh, gosh. I hope they do it, man. I want to hear it so bad. Is there a position where you thought more patience was required than others, where it's just the learning curve there is so great? Is there one that stands out to you?
Well, certainly quarterback. I used to think it was receiver, but there's been more receivers that have come in early and contributed early. It used to be as a receiver, you come in, there's just a big adjustment period. There's so many things going on pre-snap that they have to know, and then post-snap as far as adjusting routes. But I think with the advent of so much 7-on-7 in high school in the summertime, and colleges throw the ball so much more than they used to a long time ago, that transition is a little easier now. But certainly quarterback, and then to me, the second would be offensive line. There's just so many techniques and tools of the trade that you learn that just takes time and takes development over a number of years. So those are probably the 2 positions. Defense, a little bit easier to probably transition. You can always fall back to see ball, get ball, but I'd say offensive line and quarterback.
That was always my thing. DJ, what was your challenging position as an evaluator?
For me, in terms of challenging position, for me, it was always safety.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Safety was always hard just because
O-line was always hard for me.
Yeah. Safety's gotten, I'll tell you what, the batting average on safety, I don't know this would be a good question for Tom, of how you watch it, because used to be when we were all growing up, we were all taught, hey, 4 games, you need 4 games to make an evaluation on a guy. So you got to watch 4 games, and I can watch 4 games. You can watch 4 different games. We have totally wildly different opinions. But with the ability to cut up the tape now as efficiently as we can, like safeties for me, personally, like I've seen what I had a lower batting average previously. Since I've been able to watch all the cut-ups, so to see an entire season of key plays all the way through, I don't do that for many positions, but the safety position I do. And I found out I'd rather watch an entire season of key plays, basically a hit tape, versus, randomly selecting 4 games for a safety where he might be in the parking lot, not seeing the action the entire game.
That's the thing as safety is there's a lot of snaps where they're just not involved. So I agree with you. Like you need a lot of games for a safety to really feel good about your evaluation, probably more so than any other position. But the fun thing with safeties is, and plus the safety position has really evolved in the NFL right now. I mean, you have to be able to tackle and play the run game almost like a linebacker, but then you have to be able to cover like a corner. So there are obviously the good ones are very hard to find. It takes a really wide skill set, but it does take a lot of games at that position just because, there's a lot of times it's a 2 deep safety. He's just backpedaling and nothing's going on in front of him. He may not have a run support responsibility. So as far as the amount of game tape, it takes a lot. And then with the offensive line, I was the same. When I first started scouting, offensive line to me was a bit foreign. And when I was with the Colts, I sat down with Howard Mudd, who's one of the best that's ever done it as far as offensive line coaches. And I learned so much from him, not just sitting down with him, but just spending time with him over the years when I was in pro scouting at that point and just learning all the things that he would look for in that position. And now I feel like I love doing offensive linemen. I love doing centers. Centers to me are really, sounds kind of nerdish for football wise, but I love watching centers play, the leverage, the quickness, the pulling, the movement. So most of the stuff I learned on offensive line play came from Howard.
Yeah, well, I've long been fascinated by the questions, what are the right questions to get to some interesting answers to at least learn something about somebody. So the one that we've been using lately is one that I picked up from my buddy Ken Coleman, who's in the leadership space, Tom. So we asked Keuchly this. He gave us a great answer. But I'll ask you this. As someone who's been a general manager, what ticked you off, whether it was with staff or the job in general?
Oh, my gosh. Probably on a daily basis. You just got to work through it. It's our job to have answers rather than just always coming up with, complaints or problems, which you tend to get. Like the one thing it's hard being a college scout where you're on the road, you're looking at college players for the following year, yet you're watching your team play every Sunday. And then you tend to have a lot of opinions of what your team should be doing, right? As a college scout, you're spending Saturday usually watching the game on TV somewhere. And you call your director, you call a GM, hey, how come we're not playing so-and-so? Hey, how come we're running the ball on third down right here? And it would get, hey, look, trying to explain, hey, look, you're not here every day. Yeah. You don't know the game plan. You don't know who's practicing well. You don't know who's been used. So, but you also hey, that college scout, he wants to win like you do. He's putting everything he can into it. And he wants to have an opinion. So you have to listen to it for a little bit. But I'd give a little bit of time to that. But after that, it's like, hey, we all have our roles. Your role right now is to go find us players for 2026. Right. And our coach's role right now is to get us to win right now.
Buck, we never did that. Buck.
No,
right? We were supportive. Hey, I'm glad we're not playing. I'm glad we're not playing our talented young players. Let's keep playing those veterans that know what to do and stink. You know what? Let's just keep losing games. This is so much fun out here on the road as I'm away from my family.
It is.
What's funny is some of those players they complain about are players that we drafted maybe a couple of years ago. Like, hey, wait, weren't you standing on the table for that offensive lineman 3 years ago?
It changes. The wind can change quick. Pumped to have Luke back with us. Luke, how are you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing good. It's I'm looking out my window right now and the leaves are changing. It's getting cooler. It's a little brisk in the morning. And this is always my favorite time of the year playing, because stuff starts to really matter now. Trade deadline's gone and you start playing meaningful games in November, December. And this time of the year is what I think about playing football. So it was, this is my favorite time of the season.
Real quick. Were you no sleeves no matter what?
See, I was, but I didn't like wearing sleeves in games. I always felt like I was constricted.
Okay.
Constricted running.
Did you ever regret it though? Like it was just so stinking cold that you're like, maybe this is a bad call.
Sweatshirt up, sweatpants at practice. I was no skin showing. But what people don't get is you get on the field and you're only on the field for a couple minutes at a time. And then once you go to the sideline, the benches are heated. I can put a jacket on. I can put a hat on. There's heaters everywhere. And then you get on the field for, a couple minutes and then you're back off. So it's really not that bad.
We've talked a lot about, the right questions when you get to know players, like what's a good question to elicit a good answer. And I was talking to one of our buddies of the show, Ken Coleman's written a bunch of leadership books. And I ran into him in Nashville and I said, hey, I'm always looking for new questions. Like, give me a question you can ask a player. You can learn something interesting about him. And he said, ask him what pisses him off. I was like, okay, I've never asked that. So I'm going to let you be the first person. As a player, Luke, what pissed you off?
Effort and lack of attention to detail and not thinking that details are important. And you saw that a lot in the run game. Hey, where are your eyes? Where are you closing to? Are you the end man on the line of scrimmage? Make sure we squeeze all the way to the hip of that end man on the line because you're the edge player. Your inside foot has to be up because if your outside foot's up, you're closed making a play, going away from the line of scrimmage. All these little things that seem dumb. Where my pad level is as a linebacker when I'm taking on a guard. Where are my hands? Where are my feet? Where are my eyes? How much of this offensive alignment am I taking on? All of that stuff is so easy to do in practice, especially in walkthroughs. Let's not make it close, because when you go into a game, you're going to fall back to however you practice. And these little small details have a huge role in whether you have success or whether you fail inside games. So I think, to me, lack of detail and lack of urgency in walkthrough periods was a big deal for me.
That's great.
I mean, I can see it because I'm right there. I can feel the intensity, how he would be annoyed.
Yeah, it's not, to me, it's not hard.
Yeah, we can all do that.
It's easy.
I can feel it. Yeah, I can feel that.
And it shows, the other thing too, it shows is in walkthrough specifically, like it shows how important this is to you. The way you go through walkthrough, the way you have your pad level, your pad, where my hands are, where my feet are, where my eyes are, the urgency at which you put your hands on somebody in walkthrough. All that says to me is, hey, number one, do I know what I'm doing? And then number two, how important is it to me, and how important it is to you shows how important you feel like our job of playing defense is to the rest of your team.
That's great. Never asked you this before, but in baseball, we used to have player managers. And then in the NBA, you had Bill Russell, who was playing and then managing. I'm not saying could a player be a head coach in the NFL? I don't think that's possible. But if you've got someone, and I'm just talking about someone with your, background, experience, intellect, where you got to at the peak of your powers, do you think you could have called the defense at that point in time?
Absolutely.
Why?
I think that there's way too much going on as a player that you're worrying about, that you don't get overall like trends in the game, who's in, who's out. There's too much information. Is it 11 personnel, and not all 11 personnel is the same, right? Is it 21 run game? Is it 2 fullbacks, or is it 2 running backs? And then right after the play, you got to think about all that stuff. I think there's way too much going on in the game. Maybe some guys can. I certainly couldn't. Think about it. You play a snap, you get up off the ground. You're trying to figure out, I'm looking at the Jumbotron, usually trying to figure out, hey, what happened the previous play in the run game? Where'd that ball hit? All right, hey, maybe I need to be a little bit more shifted over on that guard in the B gap. And you don't have time to think about like, all right, it's 3rd and 7. Hey, they're bringing in, 11 personnel, and their 11 personnel has, like we were playing the Saints. Was it Mark Ingram or was it Darren Sproles? All right, boom. All right, now it's 11 personnel with these guys. There's too much going on.
How many people, for those that don't know, how many people, like headset-wise, you don't get to hear them, but how many people were involved in that process in terms of identifying the personnel that was on the field? And I'm sure you have somebody who knows tendencies based off the numbers they have in front of them. Like, how many people are collaborating before that call gets into your headset?
I mean, you got guys up in the booth that can see everything super easily, right? Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how we started in Carolina. McDermott was in the booth. So he had his crew up there that could see it. So they probably relayed to McD, hey, this is the personnel. McDermott makes the call down to the field to Al Holcomb. Al Holcomb gives me the call in my headset. That was kind of our process, I believe. And I think that allows everybody to do their specific job, right? McDermott, when he was calling defenses for us, he's up there, he's looking at situation, feel, down and distance. Then he gets to play. Then he gets the personnel grouping. All right, boom. Out of this personnel grouping, this is what we like. All right, we like this. Let me give it to Al. Al gives it to me.
Yeah, that's the flow.
And it all happens. I mean, it's a 40-second. You guys know 40-second play clock cut shuts off. My headset shuts off at 15. So that stuff all happens in like 10 seconds.
Last one, I'm going to let you run here. The scouting side of things, which I know you're fully capable of doing. A lot of times when you're looking at young players, it's okay, what is he now? Strengths and weaknesses. Where does he need to get better to get where you want to go? So I'm going to ask you to give me a scouting report on your dog.
Oh my God. You know what? The scouting report on her is she is the best dog. Okay. But she likes being in the mix. She's mad that you guys didn't give her a camera to come talk to. She wants a microphone. She wants in on it. Maybe she was a little bit disappointed that I said Buffalo and not Carolina. So I think she's trying to voice her opinions. And now where's she at? She's laying down, facing away from me with this little bit of silence and not looking at me. So I got to go give her. Is she
coachable? Is she coachable?
Give her a TREAT.
Oh, I don't say that loud. Yeah.
But she's very coachable. She's a great dog. But you know what? She just wants to be in the mix, and she felt like she needed a microphone today.
Yeah, the TREAT. By the way, that's just a helmet sticker. That's all it is. That's good performance.
You know exactly what
that dog a helmet sticker.
I said it. She's going to show back right up over here. Yeah. Get her to come on over.
What if I wonder if she could hear me say treat? Could she hear me say treat?
Oh, she just got up. She's walking over here now.
There she goes. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. You need a treat.
Look at her. Oh, you see her perk up?
Yep. We gotta get a treat. We got to get a treat.
She's gonna run to the laundry room where we keep them all, and I better give her one from you and one from Bucky, and we'll call it.
It's fantastic. Hey, I've enjoyed talking to both of you, Luke. I appreciate that, man.
She's not so interested anymore. She's already left to go get her treat.
Hey, dude, you are the absolute best. You always carve out time for us, and we appreciate you, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, guys.
All right, that's going to do it for us. A little best of episode. I hope you guys enjoyed those conversations. 3 of our favorites, and of course, you can count on those guys being on the shows going forward as we head towards 2026 as well. We appreciate you guys. Appreciate you listening and following and supporting this podcast. And we'll see you next time right here on Move the Sticks.